What about now?
We good?
It's delayed.
Somebody,
so it's gonna take a minute.
I think Tyreek's on it. Tyreek, you let us know if you can hear us.
You just like got up to go.
Oh, I just got up. Oh my gosh,
wow.
that's like, bro,
Very
that's so
delayed.
fine. All right, hopefully we can.
Right.
Yes, we can hear now.
Okay, we can hear
Okay,
now.
cool.
Good, solid. Okay, so who are we going to send this to? So what we said was that tonight we're going to be talking about living as a Christian in a secular environment. And that's often super difficult for like anybody, but especially high school students. So we're going to share this with a few people. So there's a share button underneath your video, especially if you're watching on your phone. If you're watching on your TV, then pull out your phone and you can share this because this is so valuable. So we're going to share it for a few people, or to a few people. I'm sending it to Tyrone. Who else are we going to send it to?
You got Wyatt?
Wyatt. Oh, yeah. What's up? Okay, Wyatt. Who else?
Shoot.
Who y'all
Send-
send it
send
to? Who you send it to?
I just sent it to a group chat with somebody.
You just sent it to a group chat? All right.
Group chat.
Group chat?
Group chat.
Okay.
All right.
You heard?
Somebody sent it to
I know who I'm sending it to. I'm sending it to my boy. Let's see. Oh, come on.
Henry?
Man, that boy needs to get in here though.
I got you.
Who am I? Yeah, okay, send it to him. Who you send it to, Tyreek?
I sent it to a group chat.
Did you send it to the 252 group me?
Anybody?
Somebody send it in there. Let's see.
I'm trying to-
Bro, why am I only thinking of his name as his gamer tag?
Oh, wait, what's
Atlas.
Atlas?
Jackson.
Jackson.
Oh my
Oh, yeah,
goodness,
yeah,
bro.
Jackson.
Oh my goodness.
He said Atlas.
Gosh almighty.
Bro, what?
It just tried to share to the 252 meme gang group chat.
That's so
I
funny.
don't
All
know
right.
why that's
Oh,
there.
and Travis Silvers. I'm getting Travis Silvers, my boy, in here because he's a legend.
Oh, yeah, facts.
All right. Okay, all right. I think now we're good. So we've
All
shared it with a few people. If you haven't shared it, you should share it. Share it with some people. We got the live chat open, so if you've got any questions, then let us know because we're gonna be in it. Okay. So we got to make up for a little bit of lost time.
That's true.
Okay, we're gonna go a little bit past 8 because that literally just leaves us 13 minutes. Okay, so we're just gonna go with it. Okay, it's fine. So first things first, I want to know from your perspective because you work in a secular environment, right? So I work in like the four walls of the church, right? So a lot of my relationships with people could often, I guess, say like, man, it's easy for you because you're a pastor or whatever. You only see like that side of it, which that side of it ain't always pretty. You know what I'm saying? So, so it's kind of funny, but I get what people are saying. So for you, what do you think is the hardest thing for you as you try to live out your faith where you're often surrounded by people who are not Christians?
Right.
What's that look like?
Man, let's see. To think about it, the hardest thing. At times when, like, my own personal convictions come out within like a setting where a certain conversation about a subject might come up, and
Yeah.
you know, I might have a different belief than what my coworkers may have,
Right.
And it's like I feel that tension. If I say what I do believe, then it might kind of push them away or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
man, that's so interesting, dude.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good answer.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's so relatable.
It is.
Because every single one of us, as soon as you just said that, I had flashbacks to moments where I've been, and I'm like, oh yeah. And you like, so what do? You said you live in that tension. So
Right.
like, what do you do in that tension?
Well, I know for me in my work environment, we've gotten comfortable to like respecting each other's beliefs and cultures, and so for me, I guess I've gotten a little comfortable just saying, hey, like these are my personal beliefs, and they respect it.
Yeah.
At times, and so for me, I think it's easier once you have a setting relationship with that person, with those people, and so whenever I do, or either I'll try to avoid it and just try to change it to another subject if it's a subject that's very touchy. So
Yeah. There's been a lot of touchy subjects over this
yeah,
past year.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And so I just say, hey, it is what it is, and keep moving,
Yeah.
and try to
So
keep the
so
peace.
for you in that tension, in that moment, like, how do you know when to say something and when not to say something? Because it's like at the end of the day, like it's your convictions, right? And you're just living in the world of these other people because you're a coworker.
Right.
So really, like, there's no open invite for you to be for them to be like, hey, Montrell, come and pastor me with all your
Right.
Christian advice, right?
Right.
That's not there.
Yeah.
So like, how do you handle like that tension of, do I say something? Do I not say something? Like, that's kind of a weird spot to be in, right?
Right, it is. I think for me, when I'm in that type of situation, I have to realize that, you know, they are living a different lifestyle than me, and so it's not necessarily going to, I guess, affect them. And so, like, I have to realize some things, you know, I just have to keep to myself, and then some things just like, well, this is a perfect opportunity where I can be respectful and tell them how I feel about it, and if they do ask it for my opinion,
Right.
then that's when, you know, I can, you know, voice that that perspective that comes from a Christian. And
Yeah.
so I guess for me, to put it all in a nice shorter form, basically waiting for opportunities. And so I allow them to ask me those questions.
Yeah.
Instead of like me trying to force it upon them.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, that's good. So that's really good. We're gonna get back to that in 1 second. Really quick for everybody that's watching though, I see a lot of people kind of hopping in. You might be hopping in late or whatever, but tonight, as a reminder, we're talking with Montrell about what it's like to be a Christian in a secular environment, right? And so for you guys, you might be relating to what Montrell just said. Thinking back to all these times in high school where maybe your friend group they were doing things and you were like, your convictions started surfacing and you're like, man, this isn't right. Like, I don't want to do that, but like, they're my friends. So how do I live there in that tension? I want to stay friends with them because I want to be friends and I want to help encourage them and be there for them because I love these people, but also like, I know what God's called me to be. Right, so how do you live in that tension? We're going to keep discovering that with Montrell. But just to shout a few people out, Andrew Maddox, Natalie Beal, Tara Beal, Tyreek. He's in the studio, but he's also in the chat. We got Taylor, and we got my wife. Declan wants a shout out. Come on,
What's up, my
Declan.
wife?
What's up, Declan? My wife. Travis Silvers, what is up? Gosh, Travis, what a legend. Grace, also in the studio. That's awesome. So, hey, first thing real quick before we hop back into our conversation is my boy Caesar, who's sitting right here. He's going to throw a link in the chat for our summer student internship. It is called 252. It's an 8-week internship, and it will be, if you do it, it is the best summer of your life.
Facts.
Okay, so it's, I mean, we've all done it, and it's amazing. And it's 8 weeks, Sunday through Thursday, where you spend your weeks in the summer with me and with our staff and with our student team here, and like 40 other students. And we all just, we learn, we grow, we work out together over the summer. We do classes, we do chapels. It's really like a summer intensive. And it's a lot. I mean, it's kind of funny because it's an internship that we invite people to come and be a part of. And this is the first time that we've ever opened it up to be more of like an application process for anybody who wants to do it. And so if you are looking at your summer and like, you're like, man, I don't really have a summer that I'm looking forward to, or you do, but you feel like God's calling you to more, then go and do this internship. I think it's going to be great. This year we've tweaked it every year we've done it, and this year will be the best one yet. And it seems like a lot, like giving up your 8 weeks of your summer. But like I told these guys, I said, if you give me 8 weeks of your summer, I'll give you the best summer of your life. And every single summer, even for me, it has been the best summer of my life. Like just hanging out with students and our Carowinds days and like days on the river and the lake and stuff. You know, we have like a Thursday family day every week, and that's what we do, and it's fun. But anyway, go and sign up. Did you put it in the chat, Caesar?
I did. It won't let him.
It won't let you put it in the chat.
Yeah, won't let me watch the stream.
He sent them all to me though, so I'll send them.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I was like, you can't send a link in the chat? What happened? Like, that would be crazy. Here you go. I got it right here. Copy and
I
paste.
sent it.
Bet.
Oh, you already did it? Legend. Legend. All right, so there's that. Okay, so we're going to hop back in this conversation real quick. So So what about for students
Okay.
that maybe they're thinking, I just presented them with an option. You can do summer the way that you've always done summer, or you could do a summer 8-week internship that just sounds kind of crazy. But it's like, okay, I live in the tension of deciding between what I want and what I think that God might want for me.
Right.
How do you encourage students to live in that tension and like kind of like you said, wait for these opportunities for people to ask you, and you're kind of what you said, it sounded like you're leaning more on the side of I want to be your friend 1st, and then we can develop this kind of Q&A like, hey, what does God say about this type of relationship,
Yeah.
So what would you say to encourage all these students that are, living in that tension in high school right now?
Well, the thought of my devotion this morning actually came to me, where it was like the best.
That's point number one.
Yeah,
Do a
point-
devotion every
yeah,
morning.
Do,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
do a devotion. Definitely, time with God definitely is key, because it grounds you and have you prepared for what to expect when you're going out.
Yeah.
But I know for me, when I was reading my devotion this morning, a thing that stuck out to me, it was like ways to share Jesus with people. The best way to do it is to love them. And so for me, like, to go out into the secular world, I know I have to first love them. And I can't be, I guess, preachy or this Christian that's, want to tell them about Jesus every time.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And so it's just one of those things where even, Jesus said they'll know you by your love. And so when you're, anchored in Jesus at first, that will propel you to go out and to, live in that secular world, knowing that, no matter what they're doing, your purpose is to love them.
Yeah.
Where they at.
Yeah. That's good.
So,
Man, that's good. That's that's a perfect segue, bro, because we were talking about this before about the idea of like Oasis this year and what's the theme going to be. And literally, like, you just hit the nail on the head. Like, we literally just talking about that. That's so funny that just like flew like that. But a lot of what you're talking about is what I think that God is really leading us into in the next season of our youth ministry. And even just like the ministry of our church is that we're helping people learn what it's like to be with Jesus and become like Jesus and then do what Jesus did. And what Jesus did better than anything else is he was a friend of sinners, which is so contrary to what people thought he was coming for. They thought he was coming to remove those people and remove the bad authorities over them or whatever, when really Jesus was like, no, I came to like heal the sick because they're the ones that need the doctor.
Right.
And it's just like, you see the people that he hung out with and it's just crazy. But I think that just like you were saying, gosh, it's so good. Like what you said is if you are grounding yourself in the word, and I love that language used, like just grounding yourself in the word, and it shows you more of who God is. What you'll realize is that he loves those people that you hate way more than you actually thought. And it's just like, it starts to be this convicting thing of like, oh my gosh, like the people that I've been casting off, like that's the people that Jesus came for. They irritate me, they don't believe the way I do or whatever.
Right.
Or it's like, or maybe they even like, bash me for the way I believe. But like, okay, like Jesus died for them too. It's such a contrary thing to what people think church is like, and even what we grew up in. Like, I didn't want to go to church growing up.
Yeah,
Man, church
same.
was whack, bro. Like, I did not want to go. Did y'all want to go to church growing up?
Heck no.
Nah, right. No, you didn't. Huh?
Not until I
Not until you came here. What a good answer.
every,
You know what I'm
every
saying?
Sunday it was Sunday school, like forced every time. So,
Right. All right. What about people in the chat? If anybody actually enjoyed going to church, then put it in the chat. And if you didn't, then put it in the chat. Because I definitely did not. It's kind of this, Elevation just put out this album or this single called Talking with Jesus.
Yeah, so
And bro, in the song they talk about like, my grandmother used to like drag me to church. I was wearing khakis and a polo, and I fought the whole way there. It's like, dude, I related so much. I was like, bro, that was my life. Like, that was it.
Yep.
And now I realize, church is just it looks.
so different.
man, it's just like I wonder where Jesus would be right now if he was
Right.
here, still walking the earth. Like I don't know where he'd be, bro, but he'd be around some people that I'd be like, you're not supposed to be hanging out with them. You know, it's just like, I would probably be one of the Pharisees in a lot of those situations. And it's so convicting because it's like, man, I want to know you, God.
Yep.
And I want to be a friend of sinners. I want to be someone who says, I want to know your name first before we start talking about sin.
Right.
You know what I mean? Man, I've had some people like, I used to work at Apple. I worked at Apple for 3 years before I moved here. And Apple's a very diverse in all kinds of beliefs, all kinds of like everything, you know. I mean, so it's you know, they put on the Pride parades every year and all kinds of stuff, and man, I had people, you know, they would come and ask me, they'd be like, hey bro, like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, I know that I love you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's the only thing that I knew to
Exactly.
say. But literally before I left there, I had some people come and talk to me, and they just had like tears in their eyes in my last day there. And they told me that was the first time, like my relationship with them was the first time they ever felt loved by a Christian. Because I forced myself to never talk about sin. I was like, I know what I know, and what I know is that I love you.
Right.
I know that you might be focusing on a sin, but I know that God cares more about your heart than he does that thing. And if he can get there, then we can work that out later. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like, God, that's such a heavy tension. But I only now learn how to live that way when I'm 25. You know, it's like, how do these high schoolers deal with that? So let's see. We got no questions in the chat yet, I don't think. Did I miss any questions? Any questions in the chat? Okay. All right, so I guess I want to talk to you about. For you and your past in church history and stuff, you didn't like going to church. But now you like church.
Yes. Yep.
So
Love it.
let that be known. I like church now, you know?
Love it. Yep.
So what changed? Like, what changed from you then to you now?
So I grew up in the Southern Baptist.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Come on.
Nothing against Southern
Let's go.
Baptist. I still love
Right.
Southern Baptist.
Come on. I grew up Southern
yeah,
Baptist. Yeah.
So
let's go.
it was just one of those things where it was so kind of just like traditional in the way things were ran. And for me, I didn't understand. I really didn't have anyone who I could relate to explain to me like how to walk with Jesus. Because for me, I did, you know, get baptized when I was 10, and you know, quote unquote, gave my life to Christ then.
Yeah, you did the thing.
I did the
Right.
thing.
Yeah,
right.
you're right.
Because it was one of those things like, oh, well, everybody else is doing it, so
Right.
let me go
Yeah.
ahead and do it too. But it was
They walked down the aisle. I think I'm supposed to do that
Right,
too. Like,
exactly.
right.
Exactly. So it was one of those things where everything was just so traditional, and you know, everything was just, if you do this, then you're good or whatever. But until I got to college and I was introduced to Daystar, well, formerly Daystar and now
Yeah.
Definition, where I got around some people who were talking just like me, dressing just like me, and really loved Jesus, and realizing like, hey, church can really be, you know, a place where I can really find friendships that aren't just putting up a show
Yeah.
every Sunday.
Right.
And for me, like I experienced the love of Christ, like truly experienced the love of Christ once I got into. I started coming more to the college ministry at the time was TAP, and so it was just one of those things where I felt God was tugging at my heart, and realizing like the lifestyle that I was living, where I was partying and everything that you could think of, wasn't satisfying my soul, and realizing like, all right, I know you want me to really surrender and like let me love you, and so one of those things, it was just one of those things that occurred to me, that I really need Jesus, and that, you know, life with him can be life-giving, you know.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, I remember like the first time I ever heard that phrase, life-giving relationships. I was like, where you find that?
Yep.
But I grew up in church and I had no
Yeah.
clue. I was totally clueless. I remember the first time that I heard about a church that was made for people who didn't go to church. And I was like, what? I remember being so like that's against the rules. You know what I mean? Like I just, because I grew up Southern Baptist and we were, and again, nothing against the Southern Baptist, whatever. It's just my particular church that I grew up in was very like, we do it this way because that's the way it's been done for the past 300 years. And that's why it's working, and I'm like, bro, it ain't working. So I remember like the first time that I heard about a church that tried to reach lost people. And I remember how like confused I was, and it's funny to look back and to see me then in that train of thought because I can remember it so well. And I look at me then and I'm like, why was that so foreign? Because all the stories I was reading in Bible school or whatever, or Sunday school, and all of our like Bible drills and everything we were doing was all about this guy named Jesus that hung around people that didn't go to church, and it's like, it's so funny for me to read about that person, but yet be so disconnected from the character of that person. And so now with our whole mission and vision of our church being, we want you to be with Jesus, become like Jesus, and do what Jesus did. It's everything that is reverse what I grew up in. It's so much forget the religious stuff and connect with the character of this God that you give your life to, that you can become so much like him that you would recognize it as soon as you saw it.
Exactly.
And so for me, it's almost like this retraining of my thought process where for students that are in school, for you guys that are leading our youth, a lot of people call me the youth pastor, but you pastor students that I can't pastor, and it's like so for us as a team to really look at our youth and to help them be like Jesus. I think if they can discover more of the character of God and become like him, then they will do what Jesus did, which is be a friend of sinners, which is say, I love you more than I care even what your sin is. It's like, let's focus on this first, and then we can talk about that stuff later. But God cares about your heart, like he wants that. And I just think that's like such a perfect, conversation about where we're going as a youth ministry and as a church, with our vision and stuff.
And
so
I
that's
think
good.
for me, like what you just said, like God wanted my heart, like truly understanding that was the main purpose of church, like of why Jesus came. He wanted my heart, and so I didn't have an understanding of that growing up, but until someone explained it to me in that way, and I was able to see that in other people in that way, then that's when it came clear to me.
Yeah, come on, that's good. Something else really quick before we wrap this conversation up. As we're talking about this, we're kind of laughing because before this live stream ever even started, we were talking about the idea of Oasis this year. If you don't know what Oasis is, it is our yearly student conference. It's all online. It's totally free. We have host locations now going to be all across the country, which is like super fun. But Grace or Caesar, whoever's got the link, is about to send it in the chat. The registration is open. It went live at the beginning of this week or last week. Can't remember. But this is the first time we're sending it out. So it's also going to be on our Definition Youth Instagram bio. You can get the link there. And you can register for this free online conference. You can sign up, and we will basically kind of split you up, grade, age, group of friends, whatever, into host home locations so that you can attend the conference online with people in the form of small groups. And we did it last year, and it was the best thing I think we've ever done. We're going to do it again this year, times 1,000. It's going to be great. So make sure that you sign up for that. And the theme for this year that we're dropping, which we've kind of already been dropping, but we haven't announced it yet, but the theme for this year is Oasis 2021, Friend of Sinners. And so I think it's going to be a great experience for everybody. And I mean, really, I think it's going to be something that could really be a moment for a lot of us in our walk with Christ, where we can look back and remember the moments when we were so connected to the character of God that we stopped caring so much about the religion, and we saw people for how God saw them. And the whole idea of Oasis came out of the conversation with Jesus and the woman at the well. Is that in that moment, he said, I have water and I have life that you don't even know about. If you drank from it, you would never thirst again. And what he was saying is that you're so caught up in this, but that's not even it. I have something that really for her, she was living out of this dry desert death place. And that's kind of the idea of Oasis, is that we now all have that living water inside of us, and we have that life to offer people who are struggling. And so we don't want to give them like something that's just like a rule to follow. We want to give them life, right? So we're going to not just tell you how you should do that. We're going to give you a weekend where you can experience life change and life-giving relationships in the context of small groups through this awesome, excellent conference type experience, and then help you and empower you to do it for the rest of the school year. So that's the whole goal. And I think it's going to be great. We got some stuff that we can't announce yet, but we got some stuff coming that's just going to blow your mind. It's blowing my mind. Like, I see what God's doing with it, and I'm like, I got to hang on tight. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just going, you know? But yeah, I think that's super exciting. The registration. Did you put in a link?
Yeah.
All right, link is in, so make sure that you guys go and fill out your registration and all that good stuff. 252, that, and there's one more thing that we'll end with, but before we do, any last words, anything else you want to say to the people?
Yeah, just basically just remembering, I guess the key thing about going out into the world is realizing, like, knowing that you're grounded in Christ, and letting Him be your confidence when you're going out, and that, you know, by His Holy Spirit, you know, He will, you know, guide you through those situations, and like if you listen to Him, you can easily, you know, navigate through all those different types of, you know, secular areas.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Because I mean, like, God wants to be in those situations. You know, sometimes like we stray away from hard conversations or from difficult like relationships because we think it's just going to be hard. But oftentimes that's where like Jesus is like, no, like take a step of faith. I'm going to meet you in that. Like I'm there.
Yep.
So like if your confidence is in you, like Montrell's saying, it's probably not going to work out too well,
Right,
you know. But if your confidence is in Christ, you can go into that conversation, that relationship, that tough whatever, and know that God's with you, and that not only is He with you, but He already went ahead of you, and you get to walk in His footsteps of victory, and that's just like, that's crazy.
And also just realizing like He loves that person just as much as He loves you. You know? And realizing that although yes, you're saved by grace, you know, you are a sinner too, and that you need grace just as much as that next person does.
Right.
And so like realizing like we're all in this together, but like we're supposed to be there to love them and help them realize like we are in need of a Savior.
Yeah. Gosh. Oh, dude, that's so good. That's like, it's like this this picture of like, yeah, we're saved by grace now, but Jesus didn't give His life for us when we were saved.
Right.
Like Romans actually says that while at the perfect time, I love how it says that. At the perfect time, there's no better time. At the perfect time, while we were still sinners, Jesus loved us so much in that moment that He gave His life for us. So the people that we're looking at that are sinners, quote unquote, Jesus died for them, and literally like we were on the same playing field
right,
before
exactly.
Jesus. There is no separation between me and that person because of our sin levels or whatever you want to say.
Right.
Whatever sin situation doesn't even matter, because at the end of the day, Jesus died for me while I was a sinner, and that person may not know Jesus right now, but yet Jesus still died for that person. And that means that He loves them so much more than you could ever dream or imagine, because I don't see anybody laying down their life for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see that happening. And nobody died on the cross for me recently except for Jesus, you know? So there's all of that wrapped up in that conversation. And so it's just something very humbling, honestly, to keep in mind. So I just put something here for you guys. Definition YTH to 97,000. This is so important. This might be the most important thing that we do every single week. At the end of all these live streams, I put this out, and I couldn't even tell you, the amount of people that we get to pray with that text definition YTH 97,000, because what it is literally you text that in, gives you some options of how we can pray for you. Literally, that texting link or that texting form keyword is the only reason it exists is to connect your prayer request with us, where we can know how we can pray with you, follow up with you, pastoral, conversations. If you need help with something, if you need help processing something, text definition YTH, to 97,000. There's no spaces. It's just definition YTH 97,000. If you don't know how to spell it, that's not an excuse because it's in the chat, right? So it's not just for people who are brand new. It's for people who come every single week, and yet you still need prayer. Like I need prayer, right?
Use it.
Right. Like we've got to use this to stay connected. Let us know what your prayer requests are. I'm the one who gets that. So I'm going to see it, not anybody else. I'll be the one who sees it, and we can connect with you and let you know that we're praying with you and just be available. Like, hey, if you just want to talk, this is a great way to start that conversation. And so use it, utilize it. It's there for you guys. We get nothing out of it. It's literally just there for you. But we know that that a lot of you really need it. And so I encourage you to utilize that. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, I think that might be it. We've got the 252, Oasis, Definition YTH 97,000. And next week is the first live stream,
Snap.
Wednesday Night Live. So Youth Night Live will be Wednesday Night Live, and it's going to be all kinds of crazy. So do not miss it. Make sure that if you can be here in person, then show up in person. And if you can't, well, that's totally fine. You can still log on online. It's still going to be for an online audience with in-person studio, and it's going to be fun. So we're going to have a blast. Might go a little bit longer than 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? We're going to make a night out of it, and it's going to be fun. So we'd love to see you guys there. But yeah, if you can't, we'll see you online. See you next time.
See ya.